Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. People of the collective. Okay, I'm not gonna do that again. Just wanted to do a quick video. I'm not really. I can't say I'm a super intellectual or anything like that. I'm a man with intellect that's very smart. But I look at things mostly from a business perspective, and I talk about it with that slant in mind. So, looking at this government shutdown, everybody's making videos about it. So I thought I'd weigh in on it. And looking at this government shutdown, all I could think to myself is simply, if you haven't been making preparations, if you haven't been doing things in your life to cut back, to invest, which is a big thing for me, to even pay down your debts or other things, and this is coming to as a surprise to you, and so many people have been saying this, parroting these same things over and over again. You're from your gold bugs, your people in real estate, so on and so forth. I got customers that are in the real estate industry, and literally they are firing people like left and right. Even my business partner, I talked with him last night. He's like, it's slow, boss. Like, yo, it's slow. He works in the IT department for a mortgage lender. And he says, like, hey, listen, man, it's slow. Like, there's not much out there. People aren't really coming and buying mortgages. Houses are being left on the market. House prices are going down. On a regular basis, we're seeing where like one of my customers, they're switching out people damn near every week. And then the people that they hire to cover those positions, they may hire one person and they fire two. They're not hiring to in replacement levels. They're not even hiring to actually bolster their forces. They're only hiring what they need and no more. Usually less. So if you've been in business and you've been making investments to your business so it can actually gain more revenue during this time, trying to adapt with the market, trying to adapt in terms of the actual decline in sales, finding ways to increase in sales, maybe working in different verticals in terms of industries. For instance, myself, I'm in the tech industry. I still have a night job, which is in the tech industry as well. But then, of course, I also have a salon. So that's in the beauty and hair care industry. Not saying that the beauty and hair care industry are going to do better during this time, because you're probably going to start seeing less and less people come in to get their hair done on a regular basis. They're going to get haircuts, so on and so forth, but it's not going to be to the same. It's not going to be at the same frequency. So when you look at all this stuff, have you been making investments? And again, not saying that my investments are any better than anyone else's. I'm still a little bit scared and skeptical on how I'm going to handle this stuff, and I'm a bit more cautious. But I'm looking at all this and I'm like, well, what can I do to improve my situation? What can I do to improve the situation of people around me? One of the things I did, and you guys saw this on the live stream with the last meeting that was done at the shop, we brought in a financial wellness seminar, a financial wellness guru. We made sure we bought books. It cost me about like $390 or so. Actually, no, like 400 something bucks to buy books for everyone. We didn't have to do that. She could have sold the book while I was there, but I wanted to get that information in these people's hands. I wanted to make sure that I could actually possibly make my next business partner happen, or create my next business partner. Things like that. Like if I don't do things like that, even if I don't make the investment in the people that I'm working with and that are actually paying me, then how can I expect anything back from them? If I could just cracking the whip and getting money out of them without putting much into it, that'd be great. I probably would, just looking at it, be like, hey, listen, I want to make profit. But that's not the case. If you're not putting anything into the pot, how do you expect to get a nice soup out of it, if you will? Like, you ain't putting no potatoes, you ain't putting no meat, no nothing, no crab legs, none of that shit in the pot. How you expect to get something nice that tastes good? You don't put nothing in the pot. What you gonna get out? Government cheese? Like, that's what's happening for people nowadays. This home right here. This is my neighbor's house, and the same guy, he owns a house on the block a little bit further down. But that was his parents' home, and they both died. They both died in the home, and he put it up on the market. He had renters in there, but I don't know what's going to happen with that home. He had a couple people look at it. I'm sure it will be bought up at some point, because we're not even into the people are. There's a lot of people that still look at this as a decent housing market, but people that are in the mortgage industry know it is not a decent housing market. It is actually on its way down, a serious decline. Even insurance. Like, look at my neighbor's house. Over a year, they've been trying to do this and fix this house after a fire. It's been over a year, well over a year. Whether it's insurance mess ups or mishaps, people aren't paying out. Maybe people aren't paying their insurance, period. So insurance companies don't have the money to actually pay out on policies. Over a year. I think this guy owns maybe some shoe store or something like that. But at one point, he had 8 people. He had 8 different. I think it was. He had 8 rooms in that house, and probably easily a person per room, maybe 2 people per room actually, because a lot of his family was over here from India, and then they moved out and got homes around the neighborhood. So I'm looking at something like this, and I'm like, holy crap! It's not. This has been like this for a year. We're seeing little bits and pieces of this. And this food stamp crisis, this whole possible food stamp crisis and government shutdown, possible food stamp crisis due to the government shutdown. I want to clarify that in the way I said it. This is nothing new. This is nothing that is. This is nothing that is. How would I say it? This is something that people have been seeing for quite a bit of time. And a lot of people were seen as conspiracy theorists, so on and so forth. I've always been a person too, where if somebody says something like an elder or what have you, I might not always listen. There's been sometimes where I've pushed back on other people in the black manosphere, where I've said, hey, that's BS, so on and so forth. There's some people that I still don't really rock with, but I do understand that they have importance in the black manosphere. And then there's other people where it's like I've had 1 or 2 disagreements, but they've come out with things, and they've come out with videos that has spit a lot of knowledge and helped a lot of people. And I believe one is Boyce Watkins. I've told people before, you don't have to listen to everything Boyce Watkins says, but what he's saying is beneficial to some people. It is very low end knowledge. He's not giving, he's not really revealing the secrets here. He's more along the lines, in some cases, from what I've seen on the stuff that he puts out for free. I have not listened to or even gotten any of his courses. So there is a little bit of lack of knowledge and bias on this, if you will. But you can see that listening to him, he's more or less like the person that says, don't buy Starbucks, you can go get Folgers, and you can get decent coffee and make it at home every day and save $2 or $3. And whereas a person like myself, who's has multiple businesses, what's up, Maddox? What's up, Lionel? Appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming through. I just wanted to do this quick live stream and just like put this information out. Lionel, what's good, brother? Black Brain Trust in the house. You know what I mean? Strong and smart all day. Let's go. But definitely, anyone who's listening to the playback, definitely go to the Black Brain Trust. They're putting out a lot of information, so much information. I just can't even listen to it all. It's just way too much. It's if you can always say if you could ever say way too much. But where was I? If you weren't listening to people in the past, if you weren't taking heed to some of their warnings, if you weren't hedging, buying precious metals, even doing your modest or your stable hedges, such as buying precious metals, and doing your more risky investments and possibly losing your shirt. Oh God, that's bad. I gotta check that out. possibly losing your shirt, even with the cryptocurrencies. Um, if you were taking those risks and making those type of investments, you would look really, really like you're gonna be looking really, really bad in the future, because when it's hard times, it's not the time to really. It's harder to adapt. I've always said, and I say this to my athletes, one thing: do what you're supposed to, even when no one's looking. And the second thing, that's probably been the most important thing, is do the hard things while it's easy. They always ask me, "Hey, coach, what does that mean?" Well, first, do what you're supposed to while no one's looking. If I say go work out or follow this workout, do the workout. Get a good burn off of it. Get stronger, get faster when no one's looking. Do what you're supposed to, whether it be your homework in some cases, whether it be investing if you're an older person, or looking at your investments, what you're doing, watching your investments, watching your standing in terms of credit, watching your standing in terms of your own bank account, and cutting back where necessary. Do what you're supposed to even when no one's looking, because then when it comes time for somebody to recognize you, then you'll be that much better. You may be that much, in a sense, in a better position, higher. You'll achieve higher performance. So like when you look at all these things that we could have been doing in the past and we weren't doing it, now people are looking at us, even as Americans. People are looking at us and they're like, the richest country in the world is about to get their ass handed to them in so many ways. Even if they bring the food stamp program back, it will not be anywhere near what it was before. You're not going to have these high paying checks. In some cases, you've been hearing where they're saying all these able bodied people that are on food stamps, they're going to put them to work. And if they do not work, they will be taken off the program. You have to work. You have to do what you're supposed to do. The second thing, do hard things. Do the hard things while it's easy. I always say this because it's like, listen, while you're a kid, you could run around, you can jump, run, and play. You have all this energy. You can do you can do all the workouts that I put my student athletes through, and then still bounce back. So even myself, I can run around, I can do these things. I just got a text message from one of the people at the salon saying that the back door is leaking really, really bad. Right, I just got another text, so now I gotta probably head down there right now. So even with all of that, now I gotta pull out my darn drive in. I gotta go over there. Darn it, or I gotta talk to my business partner and have him go. But even with that, I have the energy to do this. I have the finances to do this. I have the ability to do this. Like I can do this. And when I see people that are in a position where they can actually make these things happen for themselves, and they don't, and they just sit on their heels, sit on their laurels, and rest on their laurels and do nothing, it's a very big issue. What's up? And drive. Yeah, I believe Maddox was talking about, like, actually having the drive to actually make these things happen. So you have the physical ability, you have the mental acuity, and then you also have the actual motivation, which is a part of your mental, to say, hey, listen, I want to keep on going. And so having all these things, if you can do this while you're younger, instead of, I'm getting text messages like crazy, so let me finish this up. If you could do this while you're younger, then do it. If you're in the position to work hard, 2 or 3 jobs, make investments, then do it. You'll bounce back even if the investments don't work out. You have to bounce back mentally, which is hard, but then you also have to bounce back financially and physically, depending on what that investment did to you. So from a business standpoint, I see this and I'm like, if you haven't been making the investments, if you've been the grasshopper and you haven't been making the investments, putting away food, putting away money, if you haven't been doing those things, buying bullets, precious metals, making risky investments on cryptocurrencies or even housing or anything like that, things that were out of your comfort zone, in my case, a salon, it's like, if you haven't been doing these things, then this shutdown and all the things that will affect it, the domino effect, the subsequent effects of all of this, and the consequences of these actions of yourself, of your peers and people around you. If you haven't been doing what you're supposed to when no one was looking, if you haven't been doing the hard things while it's easy, this is going to affect you greatly.